Thank you for joining us. I'm Raymond Goh, and this is Nightline. The top stories. Police soldiers to ensure social distancing in markets, supermarkets. And 2 more COVID-19 deaths reported in the country. Good morning. We begin with this story. Police and the armed forces will help patrol supermarkets and markets to ensure the public adheres to the social distancing rules during the Movement Control Order, or MCO, period. Senior Minister of Security Cluster, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, advised the public to maintain a distance of at least 1 meter between one another, especially in supermarkets and markets when purchasing their daily essentials. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this was because most markets and supermarkets had remained congested even after the MCO entered its 5th day on Sunday.
Jadi saya nasihatkan kepada pengguna di supermarket, pengguna di pasar, kita faham keperluan harian amat penting, tetapi kesihatan juga perlu dijaga. Tolong renggangkan. Dan untuk itu, kita telah pun bersetuju supaya pihak polis dan pihak tentera untuk berada di kawasan pasar dan juga di kawasan supermarket. Akan dibantu oleh pihak berkuasa tempatan.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said this in the televised conference on Sunday. He said although the police had so far found the compliance rate to be 90%, he still viewed seriously the remaining 10% as their numbers were also large.
Tetapi 10% bukan satu jumlah yang kecil, memandangkan kita mempunyai 30 juta ataupun 32 juta penduduk, 10% bermakna 3 juta ataupun 3.2 juta.
According to him, some 50,000 personnel have been deployed to help enforce the MCO. Datuk Sri Ismail also rubbished rumours that military tanks have been deployed at each roadblock. Meanwhile, military personnel were seen at police roadblocks in some areas in the city centre and several states on Sunday. A survey by TV3 in several locations in Selangor showed that there were 1 or 2 roadblocks which had these men in army fatigues joining the men in blue. Meanwhile, police will take sterner and more drastic action against members of the public and traders at the Itam market who persist on violating the Movement Control Order. However, State Police Chief Datuk Sahabuddin Abdul Manan said as of Sunday, about 70% of the residents and traders in the area have complied with the order, and police are still advising the rest to follow suit.
70% lebih baik daripada sebelum ni. Walau bagaimanapun masih lagi tidak memenuhi sepenuhnya keperluan PKP lah.
Datuk Sahabuddin said those who violate the order will have their businesses seized by the City Council and their business license cancelled. He said police have set up 24 roadblocks in the state with patrols around the state to ensure compliance with the MCO. He added a total of 99 Army Regiment 505 members have been deployed to assist the police in enforcing the MCO in Pulau Pinang. 2 more deaths due to COVID-19 were reported on Sunday, bringing the total deaths in the country to 10. According to Health Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, the latest victims were of a 48-year-old man in Kanga Perlis and a 74-year-old man in Pulau Pinang. The ninth fatality was from case 890, who had travelled to Turkey before seeking medical attention at a hospital after returning home, while the 10th fatality case was from case number 259, who was warded in Pulau Pinang Hospital on March 13th. Dr. Noor Hisham said the 10th patient, who was from the Tabligh gathering cluster, showed COVID-19 symptoms on March 8th.
Beliau telah disahkan positif COVID-19 pada 14 Mac 2020 dan diberikan bantuan alat-alatan pernafasan setelah keadaan kesihatan beliau semakin merosot. Beliau disahkan meninggal dunia pada jam 4:05 petang 22 Mac.
He added that so far another 123 COVID-19 cases and 2 deaths have been reported, bringing it to a total of 1,306 cases. It was also understood that almost 460 Health Ministry staff have undergone COVID-19 testing. Of that amount, 270 have tested negative, while 190 are still awaiting their results. Dr. Noor Hisham said the Health Ministry is also providing mental health support for the staff and also their family members who are emotionally affected by the outbreak of the virus. Meanwhile, Dr. Noor Hisham said the Health Ministry is hiring retired medical staff and specialists to ensure adequate manpower at COVID-19 designated hospitals. He said with their employment, more resources could be deployed to hospitals such as the Sungai Buloh Hospital, which required more staff to handle the cases. Dr. Noor Hisham said the ministry is also working with private hospitals and NGOs such as the Malaysian Society of Anesthesiologists. He said the ministry was also looking into appointing more laboratories for COVID-19 tests, in addition to the 18 public and 5 private ones currently.
Setakat ini satu hari kita boleh melaksanakan 3,500 ujian. Dan kita jangkakan minggu depan kita akan meningkat kepada 7,000 ujian sehari. Dan pada bulan April, masuk bulan April, kita jangkakan kita dapat melaksanakan 16,000 ujian sehari. Jadi kalau kita ada
The government will review the face mask ceiling price, which had earlier been fixed at RM2 per piece. Senior Minister of Security Cluster Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the matter would be discussed at the Special Ministerial Committee on the Movement Control Order meeting on Monday.
Besok kita akan berbincang di dalam mesyuarat pagi seperti biasa supaya pihak Kabinet HEP melihat semula dari segi harga tersebut dan kalau kita mahu ianya diturunkan. Kalau boleh diturunkan lebih banyak lagi. Mungkin diturunkan sehingga ke paras yang telah pun ditetapkan peringkat awal lagi. Sebab tidak ada sebab kerana mereka nak menaikkan harga kerana pihak kerajaan telah pun bersetuju untuk menghapuskan duty import untuk pembelian topeng muka ini. Jadi kita harap kurangkan. Jadi besoklah kita akan putuskan dari segi harga tersebut.
Datuk Sri Ismail added that Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has also voiced disagreement with the ceiling price. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Dato' Alexander Nanta Linggi previously said the price of masks has been increased from 80 sen to RM2 per piece. Malaysia is facing a shortage of face masks as the COVID-19 virus continues to spread. On another issue, Datuk Sri Ismail said all undocumented migrants who attended the Tabligh gathering at Sri Petaling Mosque last month should not be worried about their status, as the government has agreed not to make it an issue, but would instead focus on curbing the pandemic.
Saya harap mereka tampil kerana pihak polis telah pun mengenal pasti mereka dan ada kemungkinan bahawa pihak polis akan mencari mereka di rumah dan sebagainya. Jadi Saya dah katakan tadi bahawa tujuan kita meminta pihak Tabligh menyerah diri bukan untuk di lock up, bukan untuk ditangkap, tetapi untuk dibawa ke klinik bagi menjaga keselamatan mereka dan juga keluarga mereka.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri, who is also Defence Minister, said the decision was made during the Minister's special meeting on the Movement Control Order on Sunday, as authorities believe some of the Tabligh participants are undocumented migrants who feared that they would be arrested if they were to come forward. Malaysian workers who have lost their source of income or are not being paid throughout the duration of the observation and surveillance order are eligible to seek assistance from the COVID-19 Fund. National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, in a statement uploaded on its official Facebook page on Sunday, said the assistance is RM100 per day throughout the duration of the observation and surveillance order, or treatment in a hospital ward authorized by the Ministry of Health for COVID-19. However, NADMA explained that non-Malaysians and those who are unemployed before the observation and surveillance order period are not eligible to apply. Those eligible will need to download the document from NADMA website at www.nadma.gov.my and mail the complete application to the following address. All supermarkets, coffee shops, private clinics, restaurants, 24-hour convenience stores and petrol stations in Sarawak will only be allowed to operate from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily. The decision was reached by the State Disaster Management Committee, JPBN, in a meeting in Kuching, Sarawak on Sunday. Deputy Chief Minister Dato' Amar Douglas Ugah Embas, in a statement on Sunday, said the directive to limit operating hours for all premises will come into effect March 24th until March 31st. He added the move was yet another strategy to contain the transmission of COVID-19. He also said that all supermarkets, pharmacies and private clinics in the state will also have to put in place social distancing practice in their respective premises. The RHB Islamic Bank in Jalan Satok in Kuching, Sarawak will be temporarily closed after an employee was sent for COVID-19 screening. In a statement on Sunday, the bank said the employee is an immediate family of the mother and daughter who had succumbed to the disease in Sarawak. The bank said the branch will be closed until 31st March to facilitate cleaning and sanitization activities. And as an added precaution, all employees from the Satok branch have also been placed under 14 days home quarantine. After the break, Malaysians evacuated from Iran undergo quarantine. Welcome back. Former Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad has tested negative for COVID-19. A close aide to the 94-year-old said Tun Dr. Mahathir has undergone the COVID-19 test on March 17th and was found negative. However, Tun Dr. Mahathir will still follow the protocol of observing the 14 days quarantine. Earlier this week, Tun Dr. Mahathir revealed that he had come into close contact with Bandar Kuching MP Dr. Kelvin Yee Lee Wen, who is being treated at the Sarawak General Hospital for COVID-19. The Langkawi MP also shared a video on Thursday saying that he was being in self-quarantine to minimize the risk of spreading the virus to others. A special flight carrying 46 Malaysians and 9 citizens of neighboring countries who had been stranded in Iran, one of the countries worst affected by the COVID-19 outbreak, arrived safely at the Kuala Lumpur International Airport in Sepang early on Sunday. All the returnees were later screened at the Air Disaster Unit at KLIA before observing a 14-day quarantine period. The AirAsia flight, chartered for the Humanitarian Assistance and Disaster Relief Mission, landed at 6:35 a.m. on Sunday. According to the National Disaster Management Agency, NADMA, eight of the foreign citizens on board the flight were from Singapore, and the other one was from Indonesia. On Saturday, Deputy Foreign Minister Datuk Kamarudin Jaafar said the rescue mission was the result of high-level discussions between the Iranian and Malaysian governments. Earlier, a group of 212 Malaysians who were stranded in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, also arrived safely at the KLIA. Foreign Deputy Minister Datuk Kamarudin Jaafar said the group departed Uzbekistan on an Uzbekistan Airways flight, which was fully sponsored by the Uzbek government. In a statement on Sunday, he said the Malaysian government would like to extend its gratitude to the Uzbekistan government for their help in bringing home the stranded Malaysians. The same aircraft was then used to ferry home some 200 Uzbekistan citizens who were stranded in Malaysia under the coordination of the Uzbekistan embassy over here. After the break, Croatia rocked by powerful earthquake. Details when we return. On to the foreign front now. China has reported 46 new coronavirus infections on Sunday, including its first case of local transmission in 4 days. According to local authorities, the new domestic infection came about in Guangdong province and was linked to a previous imported case. The figure is the highest number of new infections from abroad that China has seen in recent days, bringing the tally of imported cases to 314. While the number of virus cases has been falling over the past few weeks in China, there has been growing concern around imported cases as countries around the world step up their fight against the pandemic. China has been stepping up measures to deal with cases from overseas, with Beijing and other regions forcing international arrivals to go into a 14-day quarantine. The Civil Aviation Ministry also said it would limit passenger numbers on inbound international flights. Over in Indonesia, officials have reported 64 new coronavirus cases on Sunday, bringing the overall number of infections to 514 in the world's fourth most populous nation. The country also recorded another 10 deaths, resulting in 48 fatalities, the highest death tally in Southeast Asia. The number of patients who have recovered from the COVID-19, meanwhile, increased by 9 to 29. According to officials, the government will massively expand rapid tests to those who had been in contact with COVID-19 patients after 150,000 testing kits from China arrived in Indonesia on Sunday. The government will also take up to 1 million tests to high-risk groups in the communities. Indonesia's health ministry has estimated that between 600,000 and 700,000 people in the country of around 270 million inhabitants are at risk of being infected by the coronavirus. A large earthquake has struck near the Croatian capital Zagreb on Sunday, leaving a teenager dead after an apartment building in the city collapsed. According to officials, 2 other miners were badly injured, and the quake caused several fires and power blackouts in parts of the capital. The quake, with a magnitude of 5.3, was the biggest to hit Zagreb in 140 years. It struck 6 kilometers north of the city and was felt across the Western Balkans. Prime Minister Andrej Plenković called on citizens to remain outside their homes amid potential aftershocks. He also appealed for people rushing onto the streets to keep social distances from each other as the country struggles to contain the spread of coronavirus. So far, Croatia has reported 206 cases of the virus and 1 death. Before we wrap, as usual, let's take a quick look at what has been installed on the front pages of Malaysia's main newspapers on Monday, March 23rd. The New Straits Times focuses on the need for a lengthy movement control order period to neutralize the COVID-19 threat. While the nation's best-selling Malay newspaper, Harian Metro, highlights on COVID-19 3 hotspots, namely in Petaling Jaya, Lembah Pantai and Hulu Langat. Berita Harian stresses on the Health Ministry's efforts as they step up measures to fight COVID-19. And lastly, the Malaysian Reserve's lead story underlines Khazanah's stocks as it loses 38 billion ringgit in market value since March 1st. Make sure you get your copies as soon as possible. And as we wrap up Nightline this time around, let's take a quick look at the Eiffel Tower. That's right, one of Paris's most recognized landmarks, as it lit up for 10 minutes in tribute to medical staff tending to those suffering from the coronavirus. With that, I'm Raymond Goh. Thank you for watching and thank you for your company. Make sure you stay safe and please stay at home. Take care.